Happy Friday. Good morning, everyone. I took a little break on Wednesday just to take a break. I had the day off of work, but also because that was a day I had planned to take off because I'd had the second vaccine. Well, the second dose of the vaccine. It was the first vaccine, actually. But there were no ill effects, so that was really nice. No one in my family who all had their second dose had those ill effects, which was a really pleasant thing, so we all had a nice day. So the upshot is that I actually got a lot more done this week on the game than I thought I would, and that's pretty special. So we're at a point now, like I've just noted in the chat, we're at a point now where the game is kind of functional, maybe. So it's maybe a time to just kind of comb through it a little bit. I mean, the music's terrible. There needs to be some more sound effects, work going on. Now we need to actually kind of stick the narrative in. There's a few more buildings to break up. There's lots of those sorts of chores to do. And then don't even get me into the build process. I haven't tried to make a build of this game in quite a while now. And that's going to be a real challenge. So it's not like there's nothing to do. It's just that I've been bug hunting and bug fixing for so long. Now that it's that part's, I mean, it never winds down, but it's less intense than it was. Find myself unprepared for that moment. Anyway, let's break something. And then I won't feel so bad because I'll realize that everything's still pretty rough. So there's another thing that we can do. We can start trying to put back together some other systems. Like we can actually put the start menu back in. And we can put some of those other systems in. And I'm sure that will break things. There's also artifacts to scatter throughout the site. We've got a few additional artifacts to work with. So there's a lot of things to work on. But let's just fire it up and see a few things that I've done over the past 3 days. So I got a music system going that plays music at the right time, mostly. Still designing that. The sound design is definitely something that is very, very early days. I'm not particularly happy with it, but I'm roughing things out, and as I make things and I'm not happy with them, that at least helps me to understand what's going on. So there's the opening music. You might hear a bit of static in the background. That's going to be the wind and the waves, the environment there. I really need to do a system which changes the background ambient noises based on the time you're in. And we get music kind of playing while the game's idle, so we made a system to detect what idle actually is from a musical standpoint in this game. So we'll hear it again. And so we can build, and if there's kind of just music playing, you don't get the kind of piano chords playing when you build a building. So let's see if we can wait for this to die here. So there's piano chord playing, and then the background music won't play if the piano chords are playing, which is nice. So I need some more bits of music, and I need to do the Breath of the Wild thing where I make the kind of right and left hands different tracks that can get out of sync with each other. That would be kind of fun. So I'm still working on the sound levels and things like that. So there's a ton to do. I spent a good 20 minutes running Breath of the Wild, the sound design of which I adore, and trying to figure out how the music works if you're just standing out in a field and doing nothing and you just let the music run. How that works. turns out that they never let more than probably 10 seconds, really probably no more than 5 seconds go by without playing a musical sting, and then there's kind of a string of them. And I know that they're kind of they're very context dependent, but if you just kind of let it idle, it'll play every sort of 5 seconds. So we can hear that the music isn't playing anymore. That's because there is a wee bug. I'll show you what we have there. So we can see where it says build chords playing, and this little checkbox is checked here. I don't exactly know why, but the chord system, sometimes it doesn't let go. So I think, I'm not quite sure why. Well, I think I am sure why. I think I do know why. There's a pause at the end of playing the chords. So here, if we go jump on one, let's see if this pops off here when the chord finishes. Yeah, now it's gone away. So there's a pause. The game idle system pauses. There's a little pause while it's checking if the audio system is actually idle, and that's a hard-coded value because it turns out in Unity it's really difficult to figure out if music is actually playing or if an audio source is actually playing. Ooh, that was a nice little accidental random chord sequence. That was very good. Here we go. So now the music system's going to jump in. Very nice. So anyway, so like the core of the system is working here, and we're going to hear some really weird music here in a little while. So if we pause here a bit, see, that one's staying on. Anyway, what I'm saying is that the audio source was still playing longer than my pause to check and see if it's still playing, and that's why the build chords checkbox hasn't turned off, and if that hasn't turned off, my music isn't going to turn on. So let's play another chord. I also got rid, there we go. I also got rid of the really dark chords. So now the music's back on again. I've only got about 5 pieces of music. I need to make more. A lot more. Ooh, that was really hideous. That chord shouldn't have been happening. But it was the end of this stage. And so it was playing 2 chords at once. So there's a lot of things to work on still. We're getting there. Anyway, I need to come up with, let's go grab that artifact. I need to come up with a way to scatter some more artifacts through here, and I should have my roof back on there, I think. I'm not quite sure. Let's find out. Anyway, this whole music system was a big chunk of what I've done the past few days. Trying to get it to be kind of contextually aware. There's the roofs. They come back up. So you still have the rumbling sound when you rebuild, but it's really quiet, and it's usually, there's usually some music on top of it, or some notes. So all of that's pretty good. And I think I can interrupt it. we'll see. Right about here, we will see. Oh, the music also doesn't stop playing. When we're in the UI, and I need to fix that. We fixed the scale bars here in the timeline, so now we see where our objects are. We've kind of fixed the fact that we can't open for an artifact that already exists in the date that we are occupying. So we exist at 200 here, it's collected at 200. No, we exist at 962, don't we? Oh, so much going on in this. We really need to sort this out. But anyway, let's go to the other end here. Let's see what happens. Recording, but I just wanted some kind of exciting different music just to test this part of the music system, and guess what? It kind of worked, because it interrupted the other music. Now the problem is that I can see these two check marks have stayed on. I've got nothing that's turning off the music blocking game events. I'm just going to manually turn them off. So anyway, that was an event-based music cue, and it worked. It interrupted the previously playing music and faded in the new stuff. It was a little bit rough, but you know, polish, polish, polish. There's another bug that when we travel back to this time, we'll see the traceries rebuilt back in the windows again. Oh, sigh. Still gotta work on that. That's one of the overly complicated parts of my code base. Alright. And save and load system seems to be working, which is bonkers. Oh yeah, there's another thing here. Let's open up the box. I need to do an animation where the box opens. And let's give all of these things a time. And we'll just come up with a word for each of these. I'm still messing with the music heights, or values. So there's one other thing we worked on. So let's jump back to the Mesolithic and I'll show you. So look at that, the star car pendant goes the whole time. So that's pretty cool. Alright, let's open the portal and let's go back there. I want to show you something. Okay, check this out. There's all of our landscape in the time we're in. Look, there's some blue sky along the edge here. What's going on? Open the portal. Only a portion of the land is visible. Never mind these trees hanging out, they're naughty. I need to fix them. But look, only a portion of our land is hanging out, is here. So, you know how I have this tile system? Yes, music, you're very lovely, but you're also a little bit too loud. Anyway, I have a tiled system in which the whole landscape is a series of individual tiles. Generally not reusable tiles, which is a flaw in my design. But I had it where you can unlock tiles as you rebuild, but then that unlocks the tiles forever in all times in the past and the future. And this system I just coded in yesterday kind of abuses that system a little bit, and allows me to turn it on and off depending on the time you're in. Now, if you unlock a tile in a certain time, when you go back to visit that time, it will always be unlocked. But when you start being in a time, yeah, when you start in a time, visit it for the first time, then tiles that are locked will stay locked until you unlock them. Which is good because this is going to focus the player on when you have vastly different scales going on. You know, music, you need to get even quieter. When you have vastly different scales between periods, I'd like to focus the user, so that's what we're doing. Yeah, not bad. But anyway, another little system I want to try to build in is to swing the camera around when you first visit a time, because I want to queue up what's kind of visually important in that period. So for example, we missed the Shigir idol here, and I think that's really important. We missed the pond, really. So I'd love to kind of zoom into this point, and then, you know, you can kind of look around, and I might have a... Hey, there's my ghosts. Hi, ghosts. Anyway, this really zooms it in on this kind of more human scale in this time period. And then you can kind of explore around. I would really love, like right here, and I don't understand why my pond water shader does that flash. It's depth-based, and I think it's linked to the camera. I need to fix that so it's based on the world rather than the camera. But anyway, I'm going to have the user look around, and maybe we can click on the Shigir idol, and maybe something will appear in the pond, because I want there to be kind of some artifacts in the pond. But anyway, so I'd like the user to kind of start here, and then, you know, maybe they can explore a little bit more. I really need to fix this system. And yes, that's a LOD system not working very well. But look, you know, hey, a skeleton. I need to come up with a system for rotating around objects, like right where your cursor is. Ugh, interface systems are difficult. Then you see a skelly, and then you go, ooh, look at that. And then if I mouse over that, ooh, you know, it highlights. Ooh, and then it rebuilds. And then there should be an object right there that you can pick up, and that's a really important object because that's going to be the Starcar pendant again. So you know, you'll have a few things. You'll maybe pick something up out of the pond, maybe have a minor interaction with the Shigir idol. Maybe a couple more idols will appear. Have an event in this time period at some point when you rebuild things or when you've collected everything. There'll be some more little ghostly pixel figures showing up, that sort of thing. So that's really nice. But anyway, the crazy nuts bonkers thing, check out the console. 0 errors. So this stuff's kind of just working. It's playing music, it's playing sound effects, both just kind of general ambient stuff and event-specific based things. There's that tiny bug there where the chord system doesn't release the music system. We'll need to work on that. Anyway, it's not too bad. It needs more music, it needs more content. Oops, yeah, it beeped at me because I wasn't in game. We've got a UI system, and then look, we've got this overlay of the Mesolithic and even the future. And look, we've got all of those communication things with their lights glowing. We've got ghosts. That's pretty cool. Look at that. And it's run back here because it still thinks it's running into the event, so there's a little error. But you see the way the camera kind of drove around. You need to kind of harness that system now. Oh, and we can see the tracers come back. Naughty tracery. And those ghosts need to go away. We're done with you guys. So yeah, there's some minor bugs, but it's not game breaking. And you think I need to leave a longer pause after the end of an event-based piece of music. Anyway. Not bad. Not bad. So thank you for hanging out with me on this tour. I'm pretty happy to get to this point, and while there's lots of content to put in, little bugs to kind of fix, there's fewer in that music system than I thought there would be, which is crazy. I'm also thinking about the build. I'm thinking about actually doing a build and creating, sort of an alpha demo, or whatever you want to call, a very early first run demo, which is a place I thought I would never come to. Building this puppy is going to be horrible. So expect lots of bugs over the next few weeks as I try to kind of iron out those problems. I'm just anticipating lots of problems with doing builds. So that'll be something to iron out, and that's something I can iron out starting now, because there are no massively game-breaking bugs anymore. And then we can start doing some more polish, some more narrative design, a little bit more content. There's things in here you guys haven't even seen. There's a World War I era tank. There's the Roman cemetery / temple site. There's an unreliable narrator, and not a vocal narrator. This site, this hilltop, is the character, and it's an unreliable narrator because it's old and it forgets exactly what its past was. So we've got to build that system in there, which is going to be a little bit troublesome. That'll be the next big it all breaks issue. We've got the 11th or 12th century version of the church to knock down so people can build it back up. We have an Iron Age village to decimate. Yeah, we've got a few things to do. We've got hedge system to plant. We got lots of artifacts to sprinkle throughout. Yeah, so there's a lot of content stuff that needs to go in, but systems wise, well, fingers crossed. Seems like something we can build on. So that's really nice. Oh, and then another fun game design tool is my favorite game design tool. So here's a big pro hobbyist indie tip. One of the very best tools for game design is a pen and piece of paper. Sound effects. I do a lot of my design on pen and paper. And the other day, I sat down and I just thought about this hilltop as though it were a character, and a character that you would be interviewing or talking to if you were in a game like The Witcher or something, and you just run into this character and they tell you a long-winded story about their life. And so I just wrote it out, the whole sequence of events in this. And there was a lot of, and then I gave them this, or they gave me this, or and then this happened to me, or I did this, but then there'd be a few moments where I'd stop the character, and then the character would say, no, wait, that's not how it happened. And then we'd jump to a different timeline. So I've been thinking a long time about how to engineer that. I still don't have any really good ways of doing it, so that's going to be what we'll kind of muddle through over the next couple of months. But it was a super useful experiment or exercise to just simply write it all out. Like dialogue. I wrote dialogue for this hill. No one will ever see that dialogue, but I wrote dialogue for the hill. That really helped. Okay, so there we go. There's the end of my tongue-in-cheek pro tip. I'm going to jump into getting the start menu integrated with the rest of the scene. Because why not? Now it's going to create a longer pause. So let's untick this skip start scene. It's been a long time since I've looked at the start menu, so I really don't even know what it looks like anymore. There it is. That's what it looks like. We need something nice and pretty here, something graphical. But I don't know what I'm going to put there. I think I'm leaving that blank as a canvas to paint on in the future. But let's just see what happens. I think this whole start scene is utterly broken. Do I have any null references here? Nope. All right, off you go. I don't even know what's going to happen. I assume it's going to say resume game rather than start game. I have no idea what new game does. No, it's working. I can, and yeah, we got the music. So the music system actually needs to wait till we get out of the menus. I've got to come up with kind of menu scene music. That'll be fun. Or sound or something. Alright. So already, I don't know what that is. What does new game do? Ooh, nothing at all. Okay, that worked. Ooh, bang, bang. So there's a little bug. It just loaded up. It has loaded up the last save. Ooh, hey, the tracery's out of the window though. That's nice. Yep. There we go. All of this sort of stuff. There's a problem. It's okay. We'll fix it. Let's figure out what's going on. Alright, so let's just dig into this because I haven't dug into this for probably a year now. Let's just find out what we're even doing, and the start scene manager script looks like a good place to start. So, hey Visual Studio, I like you, but you keep interrupting me to tell me that you need to update. I bet there's a way I can turn that off. Let's close all of these tabs. Kind of give ourselves a fresh look at things. There we go. All right, I'm just going to dig through this now. So we're back to wall of code that probably the compression is not making legible at all. Ooh. We've got some really dodgy. I'm just looking at my stream over here. It looks like we've got some really dodgily poor internet connection. Maybe no one can hear or see this right now. Ooh. It's not looking great. And now it's bouncing up to something acceptable. Ooh. Anyway. Sorry about that. It's the joys of living out in the boonies, in a rural place, where the utility companies really have no interest in servicing because we cost too much. I get it. Okay. So what happens here? Block input, pause game. Ooh, I don't have, do I have player prefs? Do I have a reset player prefs key? Because that would be great. Let's look for this. Okay. Oh, curvy. Let's get rid of curvy. DT utility, that's not mine. Easy save. We're not interested in that. We are interested in my scripts that are referencing player prefs. Reset player prefs. This is mine. I have a reset player pref script. That's interesting. not remember making this. It does one thing. It's just the menu item. Oh, okay, so it's not even a key press, it's just a menu item. Cool, let's reset our player prefs and see what happens. Oh, where is it anyway? Edit. Right. Makes sense. Ugh. Icons. Edit. Reset player prefs. All right. What happens now? One thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mute the music and I'm going to mute the environment. I should probably just mute the whole dang thing. Let's unmute those two and mute the master. All right. Another thing I want to do is there's the start button. Let's turn all of these guys on. Make a cacophony of letters there. Okay. I just want to see what's going to happen. All right. We've got no player prefs. What chaos have I introduced? Yep, lots of chaos. Okay, it really shouldn't have done that. What it should have done was jumped me out of the menu and into some more black and white that would have laid out 3 big buttons to press. The Island Outlines group should have run. Okay, well, let's see what happens. So what is this button? What do we need to be looking for? Start continue button. Let's look and see what happens in the script here. Okay, here's the function it calls. Start. Okay, so what's happening here? Okay, so if the resume button is not active in the hierarchy, so let's go back in there and turn off the resume button. And let's turn off the continue, not the button, but the text. Let's turn those off. Okay, so we've set that condition up. Okay. So that runs new game start. Turns on the resume text. There we go. I knew you'd jump in there with the update. Let's keep moving on. So the start button text is active. It just runs new game. If it isn't active, so that means if the continue button is on, this just jumps into the save slots. The last active tile, okay. And then, okay. So it's based on what text is displaying in the button. And then it turns off the start canvas. Okay. So we want to keep the start button text on, everything else turned off, which we've just done. Ooh, there's probably some stuff being set up here in the start. So here's a conditional. If player prefs has key, if it doesn't have the key save slot used, or save exists override equals true. Oh, that's how we get that on. Okay. If it does have it, then the continue text gets set. We'll see what happens when we press start at this point. Okay, we've got a raycaster just for the start canvas. Good to know. We've got the busy icon. There's a little icon that should appear down in the corner. I've never been very successful with that when you're doing a save or a load. You know, your standard little things moving, so don't turn off your machine at this time, that sort of thing. Okay, or a skip start screen, which just skips out of this completely. All right, let's go see what the new game start does. Island questions fade in. Okay. All right, so we have this set up right now. Let's clear out our player prefs. Ooh, there's clear all player prefs and there's reset player prefs. Let's clear them all. Yep, they're gone. All right. What's going to happen? The beach balls are going to spin for a while. All right. Here we are, presented with nothing but the start. Okay. I need to have some sort of feedback when we mouse over these things, because it's a pretty dead menu right now. I kind of hate doing the mouse over states. It's a chore. All right, let's hit start. Something faded out. It's working. Yes, yes, you can't see it, but I'm raising my fist in celebration. Yes. Okay, that's what we were supposed to have happen. This only happens the very first time you play the game. Or when you start a new game, but you get this choice here. You get this view of the island, and you get to choose what happened to the island, as if the whole island were an artifact. As a new player, you have no idea where you start on the island, but I'll let you into a little behind-the-scenes secret. You start right here. It doesn't matter if you choose one of these areas, you'll always start right here. I think maybe in the future, we could have 3 starting points in the game, because where you start on the island doesn't make a whole lot of difference, but you could start here, or you could start up here, or you could start here. That would be kind of fun. You could choose which area of the island to go to. So when I make these areas of the island, this area is going to be the hardest. When I make these areas of the island, maybe we'll do that, because that sounds fun. But you can choose one, and you can just decide what you want. I'm going to choose abandoned. Hey, look, that thing worked. That's nuts. Look, here we are. That was cool. That thing worked down in the lower corner. That's really neat. Okay. So yeah, and now we're back into the start of the game, and we can do our whole regular game now. It feels weird not to hear any sound, because I have it all muted. That's cool. Okay. Right, what happens when we press the escape key? Oh, bad things happen. Okay, well, we're supposed to get back to the start, but instead, this all turns on, so we're going to have to fix that. There's an inventory. There is a map. We'll probably get rid of the map. Not quite sure what we'll do with the notes. So there's a few like options I was roughing out here in the UI. But no, that's pretty cool. So let's figure out what happens when we press escape and why we jumped back and the island outlines group stayed on. I bet this has something to do with my UI item visibility script. and bad timing. Oh, it looks like the internet's a little more stable now. That's good. Okay. What happens if we press the escape key to pause the game to jump back to the menu? Oh, I can show the inventory by pressing tab. No, that's weird. M for map. Here's the escape key stuff. See, I don't even remember. It's been so long. It's a little bit of personal archaeology here, digging down through the layers of development. Okay, what happens? If your portal isn't showing, okay, that's a good thing. If the start menu is showing, it turns off the start menu. Otherwise, it just calls turn on start canvas. Okay, well, what happens with that? Everything, turn on start canvas. So this must be a monster function. Here it is. Pauses the game, sets the bool that the start menu is showing, that the game is paused, does a block input so you're not actually interacting with elements in the scene. The start canvas is active, the start canvas raycaster is inactive, that's all great. Element fade in, start canvas name. I don't know if that is pause menu. Okay, so I'm not quite sure what this is governing. But I can see that it's calling element fade in for every child of that start canvas. I understand. So there's got to be some setting somewhere. Because this island outlines group only should get used once. Maybe it should be a different canvas. Let's see what we've got running in the UI item visibility here. Keep hidden. Fade children, there they all are, so that's all nicely set up. Well, let's go investigate UI item visibility. It's exciting to be working back on this kind of stuff, though. All right, keep hidden. What does this actually mean? It meant something to me. Okay, element fade in, that's what gets called. If it's not, keep hidden. All right, what fires these guys up initially? Cue new game starting audio. Oh boy, I gotta work through all of this kind of stuff. Interesting. Okay, so what happens when we run into the new game? It fades all of those items out, so I can fade out everything except for the island questions. And then when it's faded out, island questions fade in happens. Island choices visibilities. Oh, so I've already got all their UI visibilities. That's very good. And then they're faded in, and then they get enabled. That's great. And here's an island button. You press one of them, and the world mood gets set. Island choices, visibilities, length. So they get all their buttons turned off, they get faded out. The busy icon turns on, which is cool. And then it runs into the cue new game starting audio. We kind of jump into the game. All right. Well, but nothing then like puts away these buttons for good. Okay. Element fade in. What do we get? What do we call here? Element fade out direct. Element fade in and out direct. Okay, let's see what the difference is between fade in and fade out direct. Right. Okay, we're going to do a simple thing here. I'm going to add another flag. Keep hidden, I think, is... I don't know what keep hidden is for. I mean, I think it is. I know what keep hidden is for. If an item is flagged as keep hidden, the only way it can fade in is if your fade in direct is called. So that's fine. But let's put another bool in here that says... public bool, let's call this single use. You'll see what I'm doing. I bet you can already guess. So in fade in direct, so if single use is false, go ahead and do your fading in and fading out. That's fine. Fade in direct. We just want to stop it from fading in. That's all we want to do. And then here, once the island buttons have faded out, so once these buttons have faded out here, we mark, so the next thing that gets called on the completion of their fade out is cue new game starting audio. And I know this is an audio based function, but we're going to shoehorn this in here for every item in island choices visibilities dot length. We're going to go in there for each one of these items, and we're going to say single use equals true. So now they're just set as single use, which means they're not going to turn on when fade in is called. Let's see, what fade in direct? So there's fade in direct getting called. And then there's just the regular element fade out. So we got to set that in there too. Element fade in. Fade in instant just turns it right on. So if it's not on, keep hidden. And we'll jump in another layer. Ifs are great. I know, I'm a terrible coder. Spaghetti, slow, all the sins, they're mine. Okay, so it's not keep hidden and it's not single use, but I don't want to evaluate both of these at the same time. I want to decouple those. Okay, I'm using the word decouple in a coding situation incorrectly, but I know what I mean. So these are never going to show up again unless new game is called, at which point they do show up again. So we need to go find our new game button here. So in new game start, ooh, we got in tutorial. That's going to do some weird audio stuff because I was doing weird things. So if we are in that, for island choices visibilities dot length dot there we go. Single use equals false. So this is where we false. This is where we set it false here. Okay. Yeah, that's the only time we want to really start the new game and go back and see those choices. So, la 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 la, there we go. Save this, let's let it compile, fix any dumb errors I might have done. All right. See, there's our new single use flag. And I'm going to set these all to single use in the editor. And it doesn't really matter if they're set to single use in the editor because they're going to be, that'll be turned off every time the new game function is called, whether from the new game button or from the start button when it's set at start. But for me, they're just helpful. Maybe. Okay. So let's see what happens then. Let's clear out any player prefs that might have got set. Yep. Okay. Let's save it in case this causes the whole game to crash, which is entirely possible. Here we go. The old spinning beach ball. There we go. Yes, good, okay. Fades that out, fades that in. Oh, it didn't fade those in though. Oh, I know maybe why it didn't fade in correctly. Let's take a look. That single use is set to off on all of those, but it's still single use on these. Okay, so it looks like all these UI visibilities did not get set. Okay, so it looks like these little buttons did not end up in our list. Our list of all the UI visibilities for this opening setup. I'll show you. Okay, there's the start scene controller. Island Choices Visibilities only has 4 items, and they're just the main 4 items because each one of these should be governing its fading children, but now we need to change, we need to add every single one of these in. That's going to be a little tedious, but I think it's important. Okay, so let's add more of these in. So outline mid, outline east, outline west, they're all in, that's fine. Now let's grab the mid button. and then grab the text from it. Well, let's just get all of the UI item visibilities for everything. What did I just put in? Not outline east, we don't need that. We need the outline east button. Ding that. There we go. And the east text. And then we need the west button. And the west button text. Okay. Good. Save it. Fire it up again. Okay, here we go. So that fades away. Very nice. There we go. That's better. Okay, let's choose this one again. It doesn't really matter which one we choose. I'm gonna get my little... Oh, that's bad. I don't know why that was showing up again. Okay, I'm gonna hit escape. Yeah, that's what we wanted to see. Island buttons are gone. Yep, very good. I should just probably turn off the whole group. That would make the most sense. Okay, but there they are. So we can resume, load a game, save a game, create a new game, get in options, see our inventory. There's nothing in our inventory. If we hit escape here, we just go straight back. There is a map, look, ta-da! And that's actually where we are. So it's a little preview of one point in the island. It's a lot of stuff that's planned to be on here. That's good. What's the notes mean? They don't do anything. Okay, there's the inventory. Okay, well, yeah, the options button doesn't do anything right now because I don't have options set. Load game shows our save slots. Okay. And resume does resume it. It's a little blocky and awkward, but it resumes it. Nice. That's great. All right. Well, we sort of have the start menu working again, kind of. I gotta figure out why those island things choices keep popping back up, but yeah, we've got quite a lot. I think we've got all of the systems playing nicely with each other. Well, I mean, at least playing with each other. So lots of polish and tweaking to do, but generally speaking, we have a core now. Core code base, core set of mechanics. We have a thing. It's a good way to end it on the end of the week. So I'll doubtless keep tinkering with this, and there's lots of content to put in and lots of design. The design's now going to be more narrative than mechanical, and there'll be lots of things to break in the code. And once this whole demo is kind of out there in the world, and who knows, we might get to that demo by this summer. Once that's out in the world, of course, we'll throw it all away and we'll start rebuilding it in production. Because this code is far too messy and baroque now. But yeah, this is a bit of a milestone. So if you've got something a beverage or a snack that you'd like to relax with me as I go pour myself a cup of hot chocolate and enjoy the Friday morning before going off to the day job. Right, everybody. We'll see you on Monday. I have no idea what we'll do on Monday, but we'll do something. Thank you for bearing with us through dodgy internet and everything, but I'm glad we're all here together. Have a great weekend.